Saturday. Christmas comes early.
Unbelievable! Welcome to this incredible scene.
Bills.
To the end zone!
Chargers.
It's a touchdown!
An exclusive NFL game.
That's fantastic!
Live in primetime.
Wow!
Only on Peacock.
With a Christmas gift to their fans. They're having some fun now.
Bills versus Chargers. Saturday, 7:30 Eastern. Exclusively on Peacock.
Support for this podcast comes from Frito-Lay and the 2023 Snack Bracket Championship. The Frito-Lay Snack-It Challenge is underway, and fans are voting on their favorite snacks to crown champion. We're talking about prime-time matchups between the best 64 snacks in the land. Will Ruffles Ridges reign supreme? Can Doritos defend their dynasty? Or will Smart Food use their smarts for a surprise upset? Only you can decide. Get in on all the action for a chance to win up to $1,000 or a year's worth of snacks. Let your snacks be heard. Just go to fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com to vote and enter for a chance to win. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends April 3rd, 2023. Void where prohibited. Year's worth of snacks awarded in the form of 52 coupons, each good for one bag of chips. See official rules at fritolaysnacket.sbnation.com.
Hello, welcome to Mavs Party. It's about 10:30 on Wednesday night, December 21st. The Dallas Mavericks just defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves 104-99. It was the second in a two-game series where the Mavericks faced off against Minnesota Timberwolves, and I don't really know. I am glad they won. It's nice to talk about a win as opposed to a W, but boy howdy, that was a kind of a mostly ugly game where they heated up for about 3 minutes and put away the Wolves with just enough, but I suppose we're kind of entering, or we've been in the muck of the season that lasts right up through the All-Star break, where it's just getting through game to game. You know, the Mavericks have played a ton of games this month. They play every other day to end the year. It's kind of remarkable where we just have game, off day. So it's about getting through the slog. Let's maybe keep this one brief just because I don't really know what you can take away from that game. That said, we've got 3 callers already, so let's go first to my man EJ. What's up, guy?
I was at the game and
oh, nice.
Texted you, seeing live just how lost Bertans is, and he's got a little bit of a limp, I noticed. Sure. And man, if the Wolves were actually healthy, having Cat out there, we wouldn't have stood a chance.
Well, the Naz Reid fouls. He picked up 3 fouls in the first quarter. That seemed to throw everything off.
Right. Especially since he dropped 27.
That's right.
Undrafted guy that mostly rides the bench, dropped 27 on us on Monday. And yeah.
Well, he's kind of a secret super sub for them. He's been putting up some pretty wild numbers with Cat out. Mm-hmm. He's pretty talented, and it just seemed to throw their whole vibe off. I also thought that Anthony Edwards looked like absolute shit.
Yep. He's trying to adjust his game to, fit with Gobert, but it's like, it's hard to get out of that.
Physically, on TV, he looks fat.
Compared to last year, he does look more fit, actually.
Okay.
Having seen him a lot last year, like he definitely put in a lot of work this year where he's got a bit more muscle. He was a little bit chubbier last year.
He looks like a fucking NFL tight end. He is
a
big man.
He is a giant person, and he looked scarier this year, and that's why it kind of makes me sad when they traded for Gobert. Mm-hmm. And it takes away Ant's game. Anyway, you could very visibly, Luka is so unhappy with how the team put together and how life in general, and just he is just stomping his feet way more, not at the refs, but towards the bench. So, man, the rest. I don't know how the rest of the season is going to go if we don't make any moves to put better pieces to fit around Luka. But Kemba Walker and Knicks hand-me-downs are not the answer.
Yeah, it's interesting. I must say, Luka's beard is lushly coming in. I hope he doesn't trim it. Like this is a silly thing, but you realize this after watching Dirk for 20 years. Dirk had so many distinct, truly bizarre looks. Like if you Google Dirk haircuts, you find a number of articles because he looks so different. Like I need a little bit of that from Luka because there's a sameness going on with how, so the beard, the grizzled thing, it gave him a little bit of it adds some I'm trying to think the right word, some flair to his pissiness that I just enjoyed.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, it's just me. Kind of like multi-day hangover look. I don't know. It's just different over the course of the year.
Hey man, it wouldn't surprise me if he's had a lot to drink. It is freaking butt ass cold out here.
Sure. Well, you as a bald man, I know EJ in real life. You as a bald man, do you think he should go bald?
No.
Okay.
It gets a little right-wing extremist type look with him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You and I come from the same
Sure.
place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Okay. I see what you're saying. Like very much like Bond, like 60s Bond villain look. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, man. You got anything else for us?
No, that's it. Thanks for bringing me on.
Yeah, the Luka Henchman look is the look for me. Josh, what's up, man?
Nothing like a pissy guy with a beard.
Right. Just funny. Like, it just looks different. Like, that's like when you watch 3,000 games of somebody at a certain point, it's just, well, he looks different tonight. Does he look good? Or does he just look different? I always tell, because I work from home, so whenever I go into an office and if ever I look nice, people are like, oh, you look nice. Like, no, I just no longer look like shit. That's the difference.
Yeah, if only he started every game with a crappy cup of coffee and bitched about everything.
Well, my thing, I need Luka to grow the Brad Davis mustache. That's what I need. It's never going to happen, but I desperately want it.
Oh God! All right, that's kind of scary, actually.
See, intimidation.
Intimidation by awkward lookingness.
Sure. I mean, you remember the movie Little Giants? Intimidation. Anyways,
no, actually, I'm gonna have to find this movie.
Great sports movie.
Little Giants.
Yes, it has Rick Moranis. It has Ed O'Neill. Great '90s child sports movie. Becky the Icebox O'Shea. That's right.
Oh shit! Okay. All right. This is on my list.
Anyway, what's going on, dude?
Hey, like I said on Monday, Wednesday revenge. I'm not being just an optimist for the sake of being an optimist, but it occurred to me watching tonight's game that if you're a fan, you're gonna slog through it anyway. So it seems, I don't know, it's a little too predictable to hate everybody when you're losing and then love everybody when you're winning. Now tonight wasn't a sexy way to win, but also, the last game Edwards shot ridiculously. They were sizzling. I took solace tonight in him not talking any shit because they were getting, it was a grinded out game and the Mavs kind of, spanked them in the grind out category. Not an aesthetically pleasing game to
No, this was kind of a brutal watch except for about 4 minutes. I had nothing to write about until that stretch.
Well, I mean, hey, I'm not trying to just see nice colors, but I'm just saying,
sure.
This is the type of thing that can translate to altering trends. because in certain ways, it is a make or miss league, especially, with all the, with all the calling for the offensive players and it being such an offensive game, it really makes it more of a make or miss league. And in the end, if you have the ability to grind it out, then you're kind of counteracting the tonight we're hot, tomorrow night we're not hot, who's slumping, who's hitting. It didn't hurt to have Hardaway, have a good shooting night. But in the end, I mean, they were really actually playing defense as a unit.
I think so.
Why it was low scoring. So I think it's a good omen. Now I'm not sure. I'm trying to knock on wood over here. I don't know. I'm at my sister's. Oh, this is wood. Okay, cool. But yeah, I mean, it's the way that you want to form good habits, and hey, I'll take a win too. And now they're back at 500. Maybe they flip flop between here and there, or maybe like we talked about the other time, aka 2 days ago, they can turn this into some, at least try to string a couple of wins together. Maybe. I know that's a lot to ask.
Well, we'll see, man. I mean, they play the Rockets and they play the Lakers. Like, it's in the realm of possibility. Well, I would prefer that just for the sake of talking about shit.
They find a way to get up sometimes for really big games and shit the bed in games that
the Friday one is a letdown game for me because there's a lot of emotion going into Sunday's Christmas Day game because they're revealing Dirk's statue before the game. Dirk's there. Going to be a lot of former Mavs there, I bet, for anybody that's in the area still. Christmas, then they're playing LeBron. So it's like I expect that Christmas Day game to be a barn burner where Dallas just torches the Lakers. But that leaves Friday a little bit up in the air for me, in terms of how things go.
So you think they maybe sit a couple of guys for a rest on Friday?
I don't know who they can. Because it's not necessarily rest in so much as just like a mental look ahead game. Luka tends to play down to these piss poor teams. And that Rockets game where they lost without Luka was one of our early seasons, like what the fuck games. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, Kid talk. I don't buy this, but Kid sort of talked about it in the post game about how they're like trying to find different ways to connect. So we'll see.
The one thing that now I've been labeled the optimist, which I have mixed feelings about. But the one thing that bothered me tonight is, man, offensively, Wood, Kemba. There was a whole section of the game where Wood, Kemba, and Dinwiddie just were like, man, I don't want this thing. Like they really didn't want to shoot. And I was like yelling at, my TV and just being like, who the fuck wants to shoot this fucking thing? Yeah,
there was some pretty, I know, it was hot potato. There were some pretty awful segments in that. I do agree with that for sure.
But hey, I think while Kemba's knee isn't jacked, he does create this thing where it's like, oh, we have two ball handlers on the floor at all times, and it does provide a little bit of a steadying feeling. And now they just have to, kind of get used to playing with him on the floor to maybe that'll, kind of loosen up the offense. Because right now they seem to get a little bit in their feelings, especially like later in the game. They seem to get a little tight. So sure. maybe they figure it out. But anyway, I'll take a win. Good stuff. And look forward to hearing the rest of everybody's comments.
Thanks for hanging out. Talk soon.
All right.
Okay, let's go next then to Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Kirk. How's it going?
It's going. What do you got for us?
Just glad we didn't go on a 3-game losing streak. Hopefully they can get up for the Rockets. This is what we have to worry about this season. It's like, okay, we're playing a bad team. Are they going to get up for this game? So
the Rockets are truly horrendous. Like, that's what made that loss really awful, was how bad the Rockets are.
Yeah.
My question is, why, with all the injuries, why hasn't Jaden Hardy been called back from the Legends?
Shoot, man, I don't know. I wish I could give you a decent answer.
This would be the opportune time. This is like, okay, next man up. This is your chance, kid. And we've seen him play pretty decent. He's going to make mistakes. We're expecting him to make mistakes. He's a rookie, but he can get buckets. I was at the game last Friday. He's during garbage time. He's flat out getting buckets. So I don't know. Just kind of wish he'd be recalled. Maybe play Friday. I really hope they don't ruin Sunday, man. You remember Christmas game 2011, right? I know you do.
I do, but they've had some opportunity. That Warriors game when Dirk's jersey was retired felt like an embarrassment opportunity game, and they just beat the fuck out of them.
Right. Yeah.
I know what you mean. Particularly with Anthony Davis going down, the Lakers are, I'm not sure if you followed them. They are catastrophically bad.
Yeah, they're losing right now. 18 points to the Kings.
And the Kings pretty good this year, but that's still woo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a question too about this draft pick thing. I just been thinking about it. It's hard to figure out how I would. Yeah, I
think about this a lot.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so let's say we lose. Let's say we're bad. We're 11th seed, and we lose our pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no. I'm sorry. Let's just say we're 10th seed, right? We make the plan. We keep our pick. But what happens? What do we have to wait 2 years and then we have to do this all over again with the Knicks or something? Or
so I did some asking around about this. They would basically, the pick would get bumped to 2024, where they owe the Knicks the 2024 pick instead of the 2023.
Is it conditional in 2024?
It's still conditional, but at that point, what the Mavericks could do right now is they would have to go to the Knicks and say, we want to remove the protections. Are you okay with that? There is no reason the Knicks would say no to that. Zero reason, because that means it's an unconditional, it is theirs.
Okay.
Now, my friend Matt Moore tried to explain this to me and said that Daryl Morey did something, and I'm going to misspeak here so people don't kill me on this. Daryl Morey was doing stuff with the picks that the Rockets owed that were conditions upon conditions upon conditions, where the explainer for how the pick would move from one team to another took up it was like a wall of text. Now the Mavericks don't have anything that complicated, which I think is good just for our sanity, so we don't have to think about this shit. But that it really is that simple, to where things go really haywire for the Mavericks. We sit on pins and needles until the draft lottery, and it either goes to, if it's 10 or under, it stays with the Mavericks. If it was outside the top 10, basically 11, 12, 13, 14, it would then go to the Knicks. So it's really that simple.
Okay. Yeah, I
understand.
Yeah, some of these things are kind of just kind of first time just hearing.
Well,
about
I think they should remove condition. They're never going to do this because they want to encourage this sort of thing. Trades are important for the NBA's lifeblood of league interest, but I think I find conditions to make things just it's a hedge, but I think it makes things much more difficult for both teams. And at a certain point, there becomes a bit of a log jam of whether you can move stuff around. And we might be seeing that this trade season, where it doesn't seem like there's first round picks available, and there really aren't. So
what would you, in your opinion, what do you think would be the best case? I know with Luka, you can't say, okay, we're going to tank. Let's just get our pick. What would you think would be?
I'm unwilling to commit to a position right now because I don't feel like getting murdered. I have one. And if you know me and have followed me long enough, I think you can guess where my position is on what I think the Mavericks should do.
Okay.
But I'm not going to – I don't really want to
commit to it. Right now. And at the end of the day, we know with Luka being on the team, we're going to be at minimum a 500 team, and the West is not great. So, we're most likely going to make the play-in. But, if we go on a good run, I just don't see with this roster. We've been talking about this over and over. This roster is just not – I just don't see us being bumped up to the second, third seed. we've lost too many of these easy ones at the beginning of the season, and now we're going through this injury spell. So I don't know. They've got to win this game Friday. They got to stop dropping these games to bad teams, and maybe Rockets, Lakers go on a 3-game winning streak, and then we're back on track. Man, I don't know. Hopefully so.
We'll certainly see, man. Well, thanks for hanging out.
You sir, have a good night.
All right, let's keep flying along. Brandon, welcome back. What'd you think tonight?
Well, it was a win, so hats off to the Mavs. I was thinking about something you said last time, that most teams have 5 guys in double figures, and the Mavs have 4, and Bullock was right there at 8.
Tonight was nice. Yeah, it was nice tonight.
It was, and I guess at the end of the first half, they were shooting like 40%, and Luka was shooting really well. I think he was – I could be wrong. I think he was like 5 for 8 or something like that in the first half. So they shot really well. So I'm just like, I think moving forward, you won't get 10 points out of Dwight Powell, unfortunately. So that number will probably go down. So, like I said, next time, it just had to be next man up. But, man, it's so thin. Even with a healthy roster, you would get scoring out of Tim, Christian, Luka, and Spencer. Those would be your 4, but, who's going to be that 5th guy in double figures? And, is the bench going to contribute, 8 points or something like that? So I was thinking about what you said before, that the Mavericks just got to, run them off the court. They're going to win. And that's a mentality that I think Kid would have to push in those guys. But, playing at that slow pace that they're doing now, I don't see how they would, really run those guys off the court.
So do you often, I sometimes go immediately into editor mode and post-game content, so I don't get to watch the post-game. Did you see any of the post-game stuff today?
Not today. No, I didn't.
So this is an incredible statistic that I don't, when you share these sort of things like context free, sometimes they can feel really bad, where it's like the Mavericks have only won 2 games where Luka hasn't scored 30. And it's like, well, but Luka's scoring 30. So what are you going to do? Here's a fun one though. The Mavericks are 10-1 when Tim Hardaway Jr. shoots 45% from the floor or better. That sounds neat until you think about the inverse, which means when he doesn't shoot 45% or better, they are they are 6-15.
Yeah.
So I've just been kind of thinking about that.
Yeah. You know what? The lineup tonight, this is, since the injuries, this is like the first time that a lot of these guys are playing together. And I don't know if it's really, them gelling or them getting comfortable shooting with Luka being on the court, but hopefully whatever they're doing to keep up the scoring that they're doing, like Tim's been scoring, Kemba's been scoring, whatever they're doing, I kind of hope that it helps. But it's going to be really thin for them guys to get points because, like I said, Josh, when he comes back, hopefully will contribute some. But with that pace that they play, it just seems like, man, because you go back to 2002, them guys was running fast. And it's like now when Rick came in, he implemented kind of like he did that, but then it just like got really slow, really half court ball, and that's not to their favor. They run a gun style that the Donnie Nelson and to some part Avery Johnson kind of like that run a gun style. Ricky kind of put an end to it and was running sets, something that Rondo really hated, and it's not favorable to me. It's not favorable for running guys off the court.
Well, they did go all offense tonight because they had to. And, Kid is now making comments that just it's the sort of thing where it feels insane, where he said the more minutes, and he said this in postgame, the more minutes he, meaning Christian Wood, can get with the starting group, it puts us in a good situation. And it's like, yeah, welcome, Jason Kidd.
Welcome to the real world, right?
The fuck are we talking about? I don't know. Kid is a maddening guy. I think he says a lot of stuff just to rile people up. Like, this guy definitely reads the internet. But it's like you said, I think a win it just feels it feels nice because I just told Josh this in our post-game show. I was not as much as I really do enjoy getting pissed and talking shit about this team, it is objectively more fun for them to win. It's better for my health. It's better for the site that I run. And
Right.
it's this wouldn't have been fun losing again to the same team. I mean, if we're being honest, the Mavericks got a lot of help tonight. Anthony Davis was a really good player for the Mavericks. Not Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards. The referees really actually, the Mavericks out until the bonus time free throws, or the kind of the take foul free throws. The Mavericks were shot 23 from free throws, and the Wolves only shot 10, which feels a little crazy.
Wow.
So it's but you take that sort of stuff because they got screwed on Monday. So
I think if like anything that I would hope that they could improve is scoring more than 104 points, because I don't see that being something that a playing team could do. You know what I'm saying? To get in, to make it.
Well, they shot the ball terribly. So from the 6:45 mark of the fourth to the 4-minute mark of the fourth, they hit 5 threes. They hit 8 the rest of the game. That was, the shot making was not there for anyone on the Mavericks from deep tonight, except for that 3-minute stretch.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Sometimes all you need is that one run, though.
The Mavs, that's one thing about them. Once they get that one run, they're good. It seems like, the older teams, they kind of will lose confidence or get kind of lethargic or get full of themselves and lose that lead. But if you think about it, whenever Rick, I want to say it's like Rick's last 2 years, they were always battling out, losing by 1 point, losing to a buzzer beater, going to overtime. They were battling it out, and I hope they get their greediness back. But just one more thing, back to a lot of people kind of look at Luka's body language. I kind of look at some of the younger guys like Trae Young, the position he's in, and even the position that Joel Embiid was in. Whenever the Sixers was just kind of going through their things, and I'm just like, there are a couple of young guys that's probably feeling it emotionally. They got the spotlights on them all the time, and people are constantly asking them what they're going to do. So, them being young, I think there's just something that they're going to have to figure out themselves, and, just kind of have to take Luka by his word that, that he really wants to be in Dallas. When I see him, he has a smile on his face. I know a lot of people see a lot of different, pictures of Luka, but, that dude's super competitive, and he really wants to win. So I think a lot of it's probably bitterness from just being down on the scoreboard, but if he knows anything about Dallas, he knows it's not a winning organization. They've won a lot, but then they haven't won the big game a lot. So just got to, like him, Trae Young, and a couple of the other guys just had to, see what they're doing. But I'm confident that a lot of these guys just want to stay with their team and, kind of build their own legacy.
I hope so. Well, thanks for hanging out with us once again.
All right. Thank you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Cars.com. With over 2 million vehicles and 50,000 more added every day, Cars.com will match you with the perfect car for you, your budget, your life, your style. And if you're ready to say goodbye to your current car, Cars.com will get you an instant offer to cash it in. Just start by entering your license plate and get matched with a local dealer who will write you the check. So whether you're looking to buy or sell, just go to Cars.com. It's magical.
Talk soon. Okay, so guys, I just have to read this to you. I'm pretty sure sometimes Josh Bowe listens to these like a true sicko. Shout out to my co-editor, Josh Bowe. He just had these 2 tweets, which are killing me. So DallasBasketball.com's Grant Afseth says the Mavericks have have a 40-17 record in the Reggie Bullock era when he scores 5+ points and Luka Doncic plays. Dallas is 14-14 when he scores below the 5-point threshold next to Doncic. So Josh quote tweets this and says, I love how there are so many Maverick stats since Luka has been drafted that are basically, if one of Luka's teammates doesn't piss his pants for 48 minutes, the Mavericks are undefeated. Guys, the team building is so shitty. Never let them fucking tell you otherwise. It's so bad. It's so bad. You put Luka on on any of the other teams that were like, you go look at the 2018 teams that drafted around so we're talking the Suns, the Kings, maybe the Kings, depending on your point of view, the Hawks, the Grizzlies. You put Luka on any of these teams and they are insta title contenders. The Mavericks have shit themselves so bad with the situation they're in right now, whether or not it's their fault or not. I'm not discussing that. It's just the facts on the ground. God, this stuff kills me. Okay. We got a couple more people that I want to go to bed. Micah, what's up, dude?
What's going on, Kirk?
Oh, I'm having a great time.
It is great. Just what you just said. Because it just, oh, man. So, yeah, I got this puppy that drives me nuts. But, like I said it in another space, I was like, man, the day was going so great. And then I walk in the house, and he's done shit and piss everywhere. And that's what it feels like watching these Mavs. As soon as you get a ray of hope, they go out there and shit and piss everywhere.
But tonight was at least like, tonight didn't feel like a despondent game. It just felt like a game where it's ugly. They're tired because they are tired. They played a ton of basketball. And so to get a win does feel important.
Dude, it is so freaking cold out there, man. For me anyways, dude, cold weather wears me down. But yeah, it is a good game, and hey, I'll take the win any way I can get them. I've just been thinking, dude, I like the win, but man, as much as we talk about our horrible team building, Minnesota is really locked into a situation where, holy crap, man. They got they got $100 million that nobody wants. Ain't nobody's trading for Cat. Nobody's trading for Rudy. And the way that Anthony plays when those two guys are on the floor is a completely different player. I think when those two are not on the floor, he looks like potential all-star. When those two are on the floor, man, he's not much better than Tim. So it's just we get down and out about this team, but it's just man, you look around the league and it's okay, so it's not just us.
No.
Because wow.
Team building is difficult.
You're walking into $100 million for the next 4 years that nobody wants. Holy cow. What do you do with that?
That's right.
Yeah. And some people are trying to talk themselves, oh, God, basketball gods, I need the Knicks, the Raptors, or the Lakers to save us from ourselves, or Chicago to tell us that they still don't want any of our bad contracts. Because, good God, Zach LaVine is the worst idea that anybody ever has.
I love it. I love it as a basketball talking concept because what it says to me, if you're a big LaVine guy, this is a shots fired moment. It says to me, you box score watch and you don't follow that Bulls team. You also didn't follow the Wolves team that he came from. He has now diva'd out on two teams. He also has a knee. He also has a bad knee. I really don't know how to explain to people that knees don't get better. What makes Zach LaVine, and is being a superior, 99th percentile athlete. He is no longer that anymore, and that contract is going to suck. That I hope I'm wrong, but I don't want to take that gamble.
Is he better? Let's be honest. Is he better than Jalen Brunson right now? And then if we did that,
different. That's hard for me because it's a very different play style. They play such different games, Yeah,
different games. But my point is just I don't think they're that far apart in a tier. So it's wild to me that you would pay somebody like that 43, but you're not going to give 25 to Brunson. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't think the Mavs are in it anyways. It feels kind of a moot conversation point. It was like a thing for a while because he shared the same agent as Luka, but I don't think they share that agent anymore.
Right. No, I don't think so.
Which, it's like I agree with, like, there's one guy in the chat, beggars can't be choosers, and then there's somebody else saying, he could just need to change the scenery. I don't discount all that. I had Porzingis fears before when the day he was traded, and I tried to hedge because I don't like being a negative Nancy. I'm just saying it's right now, like, the injury stuff worries me, and that's why building through the draft is so fucking important.
Right, exactly. It's just like you look, and because of how great Luka is as an offensive player, and just like Steph, we're talking about a couple of the best offensive players that we've seen in a generation. But at the same time, when you're building around them, you can't ignore that they're at best average defenders. So a max contract that you put around them has to be a plus defender.
Yep.
When you're building a team, in my opinion.
Yep. Well, thanks, buddy. You got anything else?
No. Good win.
Talk soon then. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, my bad. Pulled him off too soon. Chris in the chat says Bullock can't defend a chair right now. God, isn't that the truth? It's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable how much he can't hit. But at least he had a couple of shots tonight, but he was wide ass open on both of them. They just decided they were going to leave him be. Krishna, what's up, man?
Kirk, how are you? Sorry,
Krishna.
I was muted.
Hey, I'm good.
Yeah, I haven't been watching too many of the games just because, one, I don't have my laptop, but two, this is painful, Kirk. This has been painful, to say the least.
Sure. It's been not fun.
I mean, before the season, I even said, like, I think this is likely a play-in team, and it wasn't because of Luka. Like, I get it, but my reasoning was this team has some talent, but the variance on this team is way too high, and while the highs can be really high, the lows are going to be very low, and we're just seeing that now this season, and it's good. Like, this is a good win. I'm not going to take away from the win, but the fact that the margin for error is not actually that insane. Like, the fact that you just need another starter to score that many points and you win is an insane thing to me. You think anybody could do that?
Like, if I knew that, I would find a way to get him, like, an elbow jumper. I would find a way to force feet. You know what I mean? But obviously, that's not how some of the stats work.
No, I mean, part of it is like, they have to be able to score in the flow of the offense. Yep. It's not just like Reggie is just going to get 5 points, they automatically win. Like, you can cherry pick any stat to look beneficial any way you want.
Yeah, I agree.
But it's a clear indicator of how Luka is so much of this offense that if you give him even a little bit of wiggle room to make error, then you're going places. For me personally, though, I don't know. Like, I'm not in the whole complete tanking thing. That's just not a viable solution. But I do think getting off of older players and contracts, even for picks or flyers, to me personally is like something I would be more interested in. Who, I don't know. Like, I can't say for sure, but like it's tough. I definitely do think it's tough. But this Mavericks team has been in a tough situation for the past few years, and it's kind of, it's their own bet. Like, they don't really, there's no one.
That's the real trick.
Yeah, there's no one they can blame because you made it yourself. It's like, if I failed the test, I can't really blame anyone else. I failed the test. Maybe the test is hard, but what the hell am I supposed to do? I failed it. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where this team trends for. I honestly, like, all these weird trades where people are talking about, like, go in for Bradley Beal or Zach Levine. Like, it's far too gone to make any of those trades if you ever wanted to. One, because you don't have the assets, but two, those are not the players the Mavericks need right now, but at all.
I mean, that's where I have a real problem with this, where it's like I've seen some people, well, this is how you fix, and it's like there's so many challenges at the moment that my main solution is to build a fucking time machine. I don't know. I don't think they will. Like, tanking is not a thing. Players do not tank. Organizations tank.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You know, so it's like in that regard, you know, if they had lost tonight, my take coming in here would have been the Mavericks need to make some. They need to be staring down and at least making a flow chart to figure out at what point do they have to start making decisions. They're never, you know, one of the things that's been really painful the last 2 years for me is understanding just how long it's been since Cuban has made a asset decision that wasn't based on the short term.
Mm-hmm.
Almost everything they've done has been based on either going for like an absolute bullshit pipe dream like Giannis Antetokounmpo, or short term, like how do we fix this problem? And as a result of that, they've gone 18 years since accepting a first round pick in a trade. That's hard. But you know, when you got Dirk, and then you got Luka, you can make the pretty straightforward assessment of, okay, we're not doing this, we're not making picks. But I don't know.
But the problem is, then when you do have picks, they become more difficult to not hit on. Like, okay, if we're going to make an in-town comparison, the Stars a few years ago looked like they were in the shitter.
Mm-hmm.
Their two biggest contract holders, Tyler Sagan and Jamie Benn, were honestly their two worst performers for a long time. And they had one draft where they essentially hit on 3 picks, 2 in the first round. One was a very high pick, and one was the bottom of the first round, and one was second round. And those 3 guys are now their 3 best players, arguably.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to hit, but it's also very easy to miss. And the problem with the Mavericks is they just haven't put themselves in an opportunity to take chances. And when you do that, the margin for error with those chances is so low.
Well, so you could make the argument they did it in 2020, and what we're seeing in hindsight is that the 2020 draft is kind of a historically bleh.
I mean, look, arguably Josh Green is better than the number 2 pick. Like, I would comfortably say that, and that's not a good look.
Some of the guys picked in like the 20s are better than the guys that were picked in the
I mean, look how quickly fortune changed. It's like Sadiq Bey, who everyone loves Sadiq Bey, and then like one season of him having completely inefficient shooting and nothing is like he's a bad player now. Like, and also it's just that whole season, like getting drafted technically like in November and then not having training camp and all this stuff affects it, but yeah, it's hard to see where that draft goes. But it was a weird time to take swings, and part of it is also just like I personally think this is a Mark Cuban issue where, you know, I don't know if you saw this quote, but he had a few days ago, and I'm probably misquoting it, but it was something roughly along the lines of like, you know, if you have to go into the room and act like you know everything, or something along those lines. And to me, that screams a lot of more about his. I forget the word, but I can't believe the word is on the tip of my tongue, but it screams more insecurity, right, than actual knowledge, where if you're really confident in something, you'll go in and you'll say, I don't know, because you're ready to learn. And to me, Mark Cuban has never done that. I feel like it's been a lot of, hey, I think I know everything.
Yeah.
And
no, he's been on 2 or 3 podcasts. Like, he was on Jon Stewart. He was on the Knuckleheads podcast. He was on a number. I've listened to most of them. And the real trick about Mark, and he did this to me, is Mark is brilliant at saying a whole bunch of words while not saying anything particularly like that you latch on to, but you walk away from it with the intent of he's an earnest man that's very involved with the team. That's the truth.
No, I don't doubt that. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not involved with the team, but sometimes not being involved with the team is the best thing you can do.
Well, that's been my argument for years, and he told me on the show last year. He's like, I'm not going to do that, and that's what makes all this particularly frustrating, because at that point you feel like they have to luck into things, because it's not a you know, he at the end of the day he could commit himself to being the biggest basketball expert alive. He's still not better than any of the people that he hires. So, because that's what their life's passion is. Whereas he said on the Knuckleheads podcast, he's a guy who got cut from his high school basketball team, but he's still like hyper competitive. And it's when you're that kind of guy, it's hard to remove yourself from the situation. I understand it. I'm sure owners all play a role, and we just don't know about it in comparison to the Mavericks because Mark's just more straightforward about it. But this is just something that we're like it's like the elephant in the room with everything that we talk about, where it's like you don't want to talk about them all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not just Mark. It's not just the players.
But it kind of just is. Like, it really just is.
Honestly, it is. I don't want to say it, but it's also like, I don't want to sit here and always bash the players because these guys are good players. Like, we're bashing Reggie, but you put Reggie, like, I'll put it simply. Take Reggie and you put him on the Bucks. Reggie is like a great fit for that team. He replaces Wesley Matthews pretty easily, I feel like.
Another former Mavericks frustrating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not so much that these players are bad, but when you put them in the right positions, you can easily make something ado of them. And the problem is you have players who are elevated to a level that they shouldn't be playing at. Like, I like Dwight Powell, but I totally understand everyone's frustrations with Dwight Powell.
Yeah.
But do you think about what Dwight Powell is? He was a throw-in with the Rondo trade. Like, he should have not been on this Mavericks team for this long. He should be a third-string option. But the Mavericks have made far too many missteps and far too many really horrific decisions. And so they've gone back to the same well of Dwight Powell, who I don't think it's Dwight Powell's fault. I don't think anyone says that. But, of course, everyone has their frustrations, and so it makes sense. For me, honestly, the Mavericks just need to start taking flyers on younger players that have shown more potential. Not like, I'm not one of those people. Like, I've seen tweets of like people saying they should go and trade for James Wiseman for nothing, which I'm like, I don't see anything.
That's not happening.
That's not happening. But also, God, I don't want James Wiseman anywhere near this team. That is very worrying. But someone like, I don't know if you care for this, but like Emmanuel Quickly, like, what is he doing on the Knicks? He's not doing anything.
No, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. And it's like, go throw something at them. Say, hey, look, like, what do you want? We'll give you something.
I don't want to trade at the Knicks anymore. I'm scarred.
Maybe not, but for me, it's about age at this point. Like, you cannot start trading for guys in their 30s. You can't sign guys in their 30s. Like, this is just not, like, we forget, maybe we don't forget so often, but I feel like this front office forgets so often. Luka's 23. Stop getting guys who are like in their 30s on this team anymore. Go get guys who are younger, who are similar age.
Man. That's why Frank's on the team. Frank's like 24 years old.
Look, I like Frank as much as anyone, but it's the same problem I have with Frank as with Dwight. Like, if Frank is your 11th, 12th player, that's perfectly fine. That's a usable situation. But when you have to elevate him so much, and I think part of it is also Josh Green's injury, we're seeing how much Josh Green means to this team now, and that makes me excited because I'm glad Josh Green is so valuable. But the Frank that the fact that this is, oh God, I'm losing my mind. I'm saying Frank. The fact that it's happening like this is clear. This Mavericks team, in a way, like it needs to soft rebuild. It needs to soft tank, in my personal opinion, because there's just not enough talent on this team, and it's going to be the same cyclical cycle. And there was an interesting quote about how Dirk said he wished the 2011 team wasn't taken away, and how that's devastating. And I don't think Luka, we can think whatever we want. Slovenian fans, obviously, they have their own opinions, but I don't have this feeling that if Luka stays around and there's a team and then he's seeing guys go away and the guys they're replacing him with are not good, or they just don't replace players, I don't think he's going to have enough patience to sit around and wait. I mean, you compare this team to Real Madrid, where he came from. Real Madrid, yes, it's the EuroLeague, but that's a perennially winning organization. He spent 2 years there, and they won EuroLeague, and they won their competitions very easily. Well, not very easily, but they won it, and he was a competitive part of it. And that was a team that, yes, it's Europe, and you can say whatever, but they had management that was clear and was concise. I don't think Luka is dumb enough to think he has to stay here or he shouldn't stay here. I think, he'll do whatever he wants, and he has every right to do whatever he wants. And this Mavericks team, at the end of the day, and this organization, because I don't want to put it on the players, but this organization, this coaching staff, will have no one to blame but itself. And for me personally, I've already mentioned it so many times, but soft tanking, and a coaching change. Like Jason Kidd, you had an article earlier today talking about personality, and I agree to some extent about the Nico Harrison stuff. I think Nico Harrison can learn a lot more of the GMing stuff, and he's adapting to it. I feel like a little better, but not great. I think the JaVale McGee signing is still abysmal. But
the JaVale McGee signing was a Jason Kidd signing. That's what makes the whole thing stupid.
Yeah, and Nico, I feel like, has made more correct moves than wrong moves, like Reggie Bullock. Like, for as much as we want to trash Reggie Bullock,
Reggie Bullock was not a Nico thing. That was think about the timing. That shit was done.
That's true.
That was.
You're right.
So you got to give Cubes credit to an extent for that one.
Okay, then.
And it's not to cut you off there. Sorry.
No. Then you're correct. That's my mistake. But like Christian Wood, whatever happens, if he might get traded, he might not. I like Jaden Hardy. He's not ready this year, but I like him. But Nico can improve. But I don't know where Jason Kidd improves. He's reverted back to.
He can take his hands out of his pockets.
He can take his hands. He can walk onto the court, I guess. But
that's right.
Me, we've seen how much Igor Kokoshkov was way more important to this team than I think people have realized at this point. And we can get mad, but Rick clearly had a lot of tactical knowledge, and that's what happens when you are. And I've been thinking about this a lot. That's what happens when you have to be a lower level team player. Like Rick was on the Celtics teams, and he was never going to be a star, but he had to think a lot about what the team was doing and the tactics of it because he was not going to play that often. But when you're a superstar, you don't have to do that. You just do what you do. And so relating that kind of stuff to other players is very difficult.
Sure.
And to me personally, I feel like you have to go out and you have to get another coach. I don't think any of this stuff is going to happen just because this is the history says it's not. But to me personally, I feel like, I don't know how you feel about this. Like a Kenny Atkinson, I would love to give him a chance. He's seems like a good guy and a decent coach, or someone else, but we'll see where the season goes, where it ends. I think ultimately it's a play-in, but who knows? Man. Who knows?
All right. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you, Kirk.
All right. See you guys Friday. Everybody be good. I'm going to take tomorrow off and try to figure out how to wrap Christmas presents. 38-year-old man still suck at wrapping presents. Thanks for hanging out. We will talk to you guys soon. Go Mavs.